Welcome to Soapbox Labs. We are voice tech for kids, and we are laser focused on delivering world-class speech recognition for kids' voices ages 2 to 12 years old. Over the next few minutes, we will introduce you to the story of our company and our technology. We'll show you demos of our technology at work and introduce you to the experts who are responsible for delivering the world's most accurate and private speech recognition to clients in the entertainment and education industries globally.
Noticing how different a child's speech is. You're talking from age 3 up. The child is very physically different from an adult, I suppose is a good way to describe it, in that their vocal tracts are thinner, their vocal tracts are shorter, their vocal folds are smaller. And what happens in that is that the signal, the voice signal, actually resides in different parts of the spectrum, where certainly the formant frequencies do. And then the speech behaviors are very different to an adult, right? So if you think about a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old or a 9-year-old, how they speak, they'll have different patterns of speech. They'll elongate, they'll over enunciate, they'll sing, they'll whisper, they'll shout, but they also don't tend to follow language rules either. So there's a whole series of aspects to this.
It was never going to be a way that you just pull something off the shelf and you adapt it, or you take something that's been built for adults and you try and adapt it to work for kids, or you kind of hack it in there, or you add it as an afterthought. That's when it doesn't work.
Right.
So it's been our focus from the beginning to stay specifically focused on children, and know that our technology will perform, and we're not trying to. It performs adequately for adults. We've made sure that happens, but that's not the focus, and that's not where the accuracy that we've been very, very explicit and very laser focused for 6 years to develop. It's just been an underestimated problem. Even when we started out, to be honest, I thought it was going to be an easier problem to solve.
Right.
I understand now after 6 years why we stand alone in the market, head and shoulders above anybody else who even pertains to what we do, because it has taken that long, and it's taken 100 years experience, our team with 100 years of experience in speech recognition technology to deliver such accuracy to the market.
Umbrella. Umbrella.
Umbrella. Umbrella. Umbrella.
Soapbox Labs has spent 7 years laser focused on developing award-winning voice technology for kids, modelled on 2 to 12-year-old speech patterns and behaviours. Voice tech is a need for kids, not just a want. Buttons, menus, controllers, they're all too complicated for young and especially pre-literate kids to use. And when you think of it, from a kid's perspective, they're all just hacks. Voice is the natural interface. But the power of voice technology really comes into its own when it's put into an educational context, when it's used to help kids to learn English, for example, or learn to read. Soapbox Labs has built a solution that's accurate enough to assess kids during all stages of the reading journey, from letter sounds all the way to fluency and comprehension. It's that level of accuracy that makes companies like Microsoft proud to partner with us to tackle the global literacy crisis.
We believe AI can have a positive impact on areas like education, and we're super excited to be partnering with companies like Soapbox Labs.
As part of our literacy-focused partnership with Microsoft, we embarked on a short research study to demonstrate the efficacy of using speech recognition for early readers. The aim of this study was to help education companies who are interested in integrating our speech recognition with their tools and platforms to understand how voice technology can help early readers. The results of our study were positive and statistically significant.
When we're talking, and particularly in education, accuracy can't be a hit and miss. It can't be average. It can't be mediocre. The experiences, as I said, adults are having today with voice technology need to be mirrored. And what happened was that voice technology never really took off and never got that mass adoption until the accuracy was there. And we're experiencing this now with kids. It is with the technology Soapbox Labs have brought to market that we're actually seeing this tipping point. And now all of a sudden we're seeing people say, okay, now it's useful.
Can you tell Hush what this is? Can you say, this is a pencil?
This is a pencil. 你看我好高 ，Happy。
Well done.
Nice job. Try that once again.
It is lots of dogs. Try again. It is lots of fun. Yay! Old woman and a little old man.
Soapbox Labs is the leading speech recognition solution for kids because of our extremely high levels of accuracy. Let me show you why that's important and how it works. When we speak to clients who are building voice-enabled platforms for young children, we find that generally they need something beyond a straightforward transcription of the audio file. The use cases might be, for example, literacy, where they display a word or sentence for a child to read and then they want to return a pronunciation score to the teacher. In other cases, they want to search within the child's response for a keyword or phrase that will trigger an action, for example, by an animated character, or trigger a particular dialogue branch of a conversational agent or a chatbot. Our verification software does all of this with high accuracy for speech by children as young as 3 years old, and it returns confidence scores right down to the individual phonemes or speech sounds that make up each word. Let me show you an example.
The horse ran fast.
With verification, the client uploads the audio as well as the text they're interested in verifying. Then we return an utterance score, and we can break it down to the word and the phoneme level. So for each word we return a score, and for each phoneme we return a score as well. You can see the Z sound in run scored low because the child under-articulated that part of the word. Here's another example that contains a word that's slightly outside the child's reading level.
This is a racket.
Here we can see that the child actually didn't say the word "an," and therefore our system picked up on the fact that it wasn't said in the audio file. And this accuracy is something to note. You can give a good impression of accuracy by letting everything pass with flying colours, but that's not beneficial for anybody who actually wants accurate feedback on what was spoken. If you set the bar too low, you lead to lots of false positives, situations where you report that a child was correct when actually they didn't pronounce something as clearly as they could have. On the other hand, if you set the bar too high, you might penalise attempts that were actually correct. The Soapbox Labs system is capable of clearly and accurately discriminating between correct and incorrect attempts. And in fact, our system agrees with human annotators on this 95% of the time. Verification also works really well for multiple choice questions, command and control in gaming and robotics, and immersive conversational play. For any audio file, with a single request, we can search for 50 to 100 words or phrases simultaneously. Say you wanted to ask a child what their favourite animal was, and you had built out conversational dialogue for dog, horse, robot, and dinosaur. The child, in fact, says,
Chicken.
We can search for all of these targets simultaneously, and you can see here that all of them return 0, except for chicken, which returned 100%. These data points can be fed back to the developer, who then triggers an action based on this information. Verification can also be used in scenarios where the child might have an open-ended response. In these situations, the client may only be interested in certain parts of the response. Take, for example, a comprehension test. The child has read a passage, say about a dog, and we want to check how much they understood by asking them to describe the dog. Now, many answers are acceptable, but we're just interested in whether they hit on the key points. So let us simultaneously search for black, white, red, and let's put in a phrase as well. Black spots. And the child says,
The dog has black spots.
We can see that we returned 100% for black, very low scores for white and red, and black spots again came back 100%, and the full phrase, the dog has black spots, came back very highly scoring as well. This again shows how powerful the Soapbox Labs engine is.
Its accuracy allows it to add real benefit to edtech, gaming, robotics platforms, and any other platforms where it's essential to accurately decipher child speech. Here is an example of our speech recognition in action.
The girl crouched barefoot on a moving raft. The boy stood silent and pushed it along in the slow current with a long bamboo pole. Mountains rose on all sides. The mountains are green, close by, blue, far off. Monkeys howled in the trees. Mist rose in the soft waves from the river. The boy wiped drops of rain from his face with a sleeve of his white linen shirt. His hair was soaked and so was the shirt.
This is the transcription that our system produced of the audio file. The colours here indicate the confidence with which each word was recognised. One or two of these words are orange, indicating that the system was less confident about what was said for these words. All in all, it did a pretty good job of transcribing exactly what the child said. In fluency assessment, a child is asked to read a passage, and the number of words, substitutions, omissions, and insertions are recorded to calculate a fluency measurement of words correct per minute. Soapbox Labs Fluency uses accurate child speech recognition to automatically transcribe the child's reading attempt and calculate the fluency score. Here's an example of a child reading a passage.
The girl crouched barefoot on a moving raft. The boy stood silent and pushed it. His hair was soaked and so was the shirt.
Here our system has classified each word as correct, as a deletion, substitution, or an insertion. We've counted the number of words, the duration of the file, and from that calculated an accuracy and a words correct per minute score. So you can see that this child read the text particularly well, but I want to show you how the system handles deletions, substitutions, and insertions by creating a situation where the audio differs from the text. In this instance, we're going to work with that same audio file, but change the text that the child was supposed to read. So let's remove some of the middle of it.
The girl crouched barefoot on a moving raft. The boy stood silent and pushed it along in the slow current with a long linen shirt. His hair was soaked and so was the shirt.
So you can see here that we have a whole row of insertions marked in blue because the child said some text that actually wasn't in the reference text. Again, we have some substitutions that we made deliberately. And then the text that I added on in the end wasn't present in the audio file, so these are counted as deletions. These are all tallied up here at the bottom, and the accuracy is calculated, as are the words correct per minute.
If you think about what is privacy by design, it means respecting the individual privacy rights of the person throughout the engineering process, right? So for us, in terms of product design, we have to think about, well, how can we design a product that, for example, makes no attempts at any stage to identify the individual identity of the child? And if you think about that approach, it's almost like the reverse of what is out there currently in terms of voice assistants for adults. So voice assistants for adults rely on knowing who you are. You have to have an account in order to be able to start using the voice assistant. All of the data that is then collected is then associated with your account, associated to you, and it builds up a personal profile about you. What we're saying is that actually you can have the utility of that voice interface without needing to allocate or identify the individual or to associate personal data with that individual child.
What's your favorite color?
Red. Cool.
I love farm animals. Let's talk about them. What's your favorite farm animal with 4 legs?
Horse.
Horses are so big and pretty.
Left. Up. Right. Dance.
The toy industry has waded into the area of voice technology many times in the past, but privacy concerns have always prevented mass adoption. With an on-device solution, it's very challenging to deliver to market, but it's also a massive game changer. With this new solution, Soapbox Labs will remove privacy concerns and unlock the toy industry for voice-enabled experiences for kids globally.
At Soapbox Labs, we've built a range of tools and services to make it easy for developers to quickly integrate and voice-enable their products, get these products to market and scale them globally.
Accessing our voice technology solutions is quick and simple. The Quick Start section of our documentation shows how simple it is to send requests to our web services using common tools such as curl. In the Quick Start section, you can see how to construct requests for both our speech-to-text and speech verification web services.
We found Soapbox and we approached you guys about giving it a try. And we said, we want to run some test data through it. But the fastest way to do that is we'll just put it in a couple of games on the platform, but not tell anybody. And we figured a few hundred children in a couple of days would hit those games and would send recordings in. But what actually happened was one mother in Taiwan found one of the games and they enjoyed it so much that she took a video of her child using it and then posted it in one of our community groups for the Taiwanese families. And suddenly, I think, that day something like 800 requests came through. All these parents were so curious to see what was going on in this new game that they discovered. On a technical level, working with a well-built distributed cloud infrastructure with really easy to use API has been a pleasure for us. And combining technical products together like that is usually not as smooth as it has been. So it's been a fairly easy process.
What we see in every industry is a tipping point. And for voice-enabled toys, robots, games, in education, literacy and language learning tools, that tipping point is now. And we're really happy to be able to bring our Soapbox Labs voice technology for kids to market and has now become the industry standard that's leading the way in both in terms of privacy and in accuracy.